I'll just say thank you, Ali. I'll just say welcome to everyone. We're going to wait just one more minute. We have almost 30 people registered for this session, so um, maybe folks are just grabbing their lunch and coming, so we'll just give folks a couple of minutes to join us. And thanks for your patience.
Oops, sorry.
So maybe I will get started. I'll go slow for the first couple of slides and give people a chance to join in. But we should get going. Welcome everyone to this information session on the continuing education course, Principles of Occupational Hygiene. Um, my name's Hugh Davies. I'm a professor here at UBC in the School of Population and Public Health, and I co-developed this course with Dr. Melanie Gorman-Ing, who is co-presenting this with me, and she'll take over in just a moment. We both teach in the Occupational Environmental Hygiene Master's Program, and we developed this online course about a year ago. We've had one run through of the course already, and one of the graduates will join us later to talk about her experience and answer questions from a student perspective. Also joining us today is Ali Wang, who is our MSc course coordinator, and she's here to give us some technical support. Feel free to ask questions, maybe put them in the chat if we're not in a Q&A. We'll have a Q&A session later, but feel free to ask questions throughout. Just pop them in the chat. If we have any technical problems, you can't hear us or we're not making sense, then by all means put your hand up and interrupt us, and we'll try and fix things as we go. But welcome everybody. As I say, I'm just going to do a quick introduction and then I'm going to hand it over to Melanie. Can you advance the slides now? First and importantly, I want to acknowledge that the program, the UBC MSc OEH program, and all of our programming is done here at UBC Vancouver campus on the west side of Vancouver, and we're situated on ancient, traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people. And we always begin our teaching sessions with that land acknowledgement and a recognition of our gratitude to the people that have stewarded this land and now that given us the opportunity to live here and teach and learn here. Next slide, please. So yeah, we're going to keep this relatively short. So Melanie and I will talk about the course for the first 20 minutes, and then there's lots of opportunity for question and answer. And as I say, there'll be myself and Melanie, and then Banu is one of our students from the previous offering who will join us to answer questions. We are recording this session so that, as I say, some folks may have registered and not been able to come, but this will be available to you and others after the session's complete. And if you have any questions after this session, please direct them to our course email address, which is poh.instructor@ubc.ca, and then Melanie or I will get back to you. Next slide. So I already introduced both of us a little bit. I'll just say a little bit more. So importantly, both of the instructors of this course, Melanie and myself, are also professional hygienists. We both have CIHs. We both went through a master's in occupational environmental hygiene, and we both teach in graduate level programs. We both have extensive practice experience as well, so working in the field. I'll let Melanie give her a little bit more introduction of her own work in a few minutes. But my research is very much practically based in healthcare industry, construction, but increasingly in social services and home care, where we do work with a variety of different occupations. So between the two of us, we have a lot of experience in different fields, particularly those obviously based here in British Columbia. Next slide. The course begins September the 15th. That's about 2 weeks from now, and runs for 8 weeks. So it's an 8-week course, and the flow of the course, we'll get into that in just a little bit, but it is an 8-week course. Each course is a module which has an online component and a synchronous component, or an in-person component, which is online, so folks can attend from wherever you are, basically anywhere in the world. But it's at a fixed time each week, and it's 6 p.m. on a Wednesday, I believe, this time. So next slide. Okay, so why this course? When we were looking to see how we could improve course offerings at UBC, we looked around. We've definitely made some improvements to our master's program, but what we saw was that there was a real lack of a high quality, detailed continuing education in occupational hygiene. And increasingly, this is a field which is getting more and more importance, because we see, while safety levels are perhaps improving, we're doing more in the area of safety, occupational health, that is diseases that are caused by the workplace, whether it's physical diseases or mental health problems, these still are lagging behind. And so there's very few programs that offer occupational hygiene, even at the master's level. I think there's 2 in Canada, only 1 bachelor's or lower level degree that I'm aware of. So it's not an area that has a lot of training, and it often gets just a few hours here and there in other courses. So this is a dedicated course to occupational hygiene, and it basically covers all the material in our introductory hygiene course in an 8-week online course. The course is aimed at, so maybe go to hit the next button. Is this course right for me? So obviously we picked a target audience. So we decided we wanted to really target 2 audiences, and we thought about it in terms of people who want to upskill. I know that's a bit of jargon, but basically people who are already in occupational health and safety, so they may be working in the area, but don't have the hygiene specific skills. So these are people who want to basically upskill. They already know a lot of the background information, but they want to improve their hygiene knowledge. And then the other group we call the people who want to reskill. So these may be more senior level folks, supervisors or executives, who find themselves with occupational health and safety now under their mandate. So maybe they're an HR leader or a production supervisor who now need to know more about occupational health and safety. And so those are the 2 target audiences. There are no prerequisites for this course. You may have a scholarly background, an academic background, or you may just have work experience. Either are fine. But those are the sort of folks that we really had in mind when we created this course. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to Melanie, and she's going to go into a little bit more detail about the course itself.
Yeah, thank you, Hugh, and nice to speak to all of you. Just to introduce myself, as Hugh mentioned, I'm a faculty member at the UBC School of Population and Public Health, Occupational and Environmental Health Division. I was also a student there, a master's student, many years ago now, and I also work at the BC Construction Safety Alliance as a health and exposure scientist, developing resources and guidance for the construction industry. And so most of my experience right now is in the construction industry, but previously I have done work in manufacturing and laboratories and healthcare facilities and forestry. So you'll see in the course we have examples from a lot of different industries, and the skills that you will learn are widely applicable to any different type of hazard and really any work workplace, because as Hugh said, we're getting involved in more diverse types of work, service work, task-based apps, that kind of work. And so there are health hazards everywhere. And we try to have case studies from different environments. The other group that I wanted to mention of learners in this course that we in the previous offering, we did have a few people who have some hygiene experience or have some hygiene training, and they wanted to do this course as a refresher. It was not designed specifically with those people in mind, but it can be used for that purpose. I just wanted to point out that it was not designed as a training course for certification exams for hygienists. So for anybody who's looking to take the course for that purpose, it could help you with your studies, but it won't get you everything that you need for those certification exams. So I just wanted to mention that before, in case anybody was wondering about that. Sorry, I'm just going to go to the next slide. So the objectives of the course, really what we want learners to do is to get an appreciation of what the field of occupational hygiene is all about and how it could be applied in your professional life. So we recognize, doing an 8-week course, you're not going to be a professional hygienist at the end of the course, but you can actually learn quite a lot. There is a lot that you will be able to put into practice, and it will also give you the knowledge that you need so that you will know who to reach out to if you need assistance with. So even occupational hygienists, it's a multidisciplinary, that's a word that we use to describe the field, which means that it draws on expertise from a lot of different fields. So we use information from toxicology, from engineering, from epidemiology, from safety research and healthcare. We draw on a lot of different skill sets, and one person cannot be an expert in all of those fields. So even professional occupational hygienists have to reach out to other professionals for help. And we talk about that a little bit in the course about who those people might be and when you might need them. So that's one of the things that the course will help you know, like what can you do yourself? What do you need a hygienist for? And what do you maybe need somebody else for to help you with? We're also going to go through and work on designing hazard assessments, designing risk assessments, developing plans for controlling hazards, identifying hazards and controlling them and evaluating them. And then we're also going to talk about how to communicate the risks and how to talk with workers, how to talk with other safety personnel about risks and control and why it's necessary. We have 8 weeks, as Hugh said. Each week there's going to be a new module and a new topic. So as you work through the course, the first week you'll have access to only module 1, and then after you complete that first week, you'll get access to the second module, and so on. And the course really follows the paradigm of occupational hygiene. Basically, the paradigm of occupational hygiene, the framework that we work within in occupational hygiene is the anticipation, recognition, evaluation, and control of health hazards. So we have to identify what the hazards are, know where to look for them, and then we need to find some way to measure them so that we know if it's at a hazardous level or not. And then we need to figure out what to do about it, how to control the hazard, how to protect people. And the course, it works through that whole system so that as you go along, you're going to be getting the skills that you need to follow through a health hazard every step of the way. And then at the end, our last module, we talk about managing a program. So how to set up a program to manage health hazards, and then how to keep that program going. The course is run through software called Canvas, and this is what we use for a lot of our courses at UBC. with, in the undergraduate and graduate programs. And so it's a website that you'll get access to, and it gives you all of the course materials will be on this website. And when you get access to the website, there are orientation materials. There's a lot of information that tells you exactly how to use Canvas. We also, there's a help desk where you can get in touch if you need help, but it's pretty straightforward. I started using it a few years ago and have just kind of it's been fairly easy to figure out what you need to do. But occasionally there's something that I'm not sure about, and then I can just reach out and get help. So all the materials are on there. Most of what you're going to be doing in the course is going to be on Canvas, and you can work at it at your own pace. If you really want to, I don't recommend this, but if you really wanted to, you could do all of it at the last, in the last month or so of the course, or the last few weeks of the course. You could just save all of it until then. I don't recommend that because we have some interactive elements, including the live sessions and some online discussions. But it is, we recognize that this course is for people who are, you're not full-time students, and so you have to fit this into your life. And so it's designed to be flexible and to fit into your life as it needs to. And the main constraint is that you can't do it all at the very, very beginning. You only get access to each module 1 week at a time. And the way the course is set up is, as I mentioned, there is a module every week that has a different topic that we learn about. And for each module, there is a case study. So we present an example from a workplace. So for example, one of the weeks, we have our recycling facility where people are exposed to noise. And then we go through some questions that relate to the course material, where you think about this work site. And then as we work through the material, we ask questions about how this material would apply to that work site. And so it starts to get you thinking about how to apply the concepts that we're learning in a real work environment. And there are reflection questions where you can type your thoughts. There are some discussions you can have with your classmates about this case study. In the module that there's also a text that you read, so that some of the information is presented just through Canvas on the web page as just a words, text that you read. We also have videos. Hugh has recorded a lot of presentations where he does basically a classroom session where he teaches some of the concepts. There are also other videos that we link to from other organizations or other resources where they've had a really great way of illustrating one of the concepts that we're trying to convey. There are images and graphs throughout the course, flowcharts. We also have a few podcasts because sometimes that's a useful way to learn, so that you're not staring at your computer screen. You can go about your life while you're learning. And a few other materials. There are some short assignments that you're asked to complete that are all related to the weekly case study and all the content that we are going through. And I'm going to talk about this later, but that relates to your certificate that you will get at the end of the course. So if you do these assignments, that gives us that lets us know that you have worked through all this material, and we can give you a certificate at the end. And every week there is a 60-minute online live session with me and with our junior instructor who we are currently in the process of getting on board. And so in that session, I'll talk a little bit more about what that looks like. We really go over the material from the module in a bit more detail. There's some opportunity to work with some of your classmates and to and just to get that opportunity to ask questions as well. We also have a doc, so you'll have access to the Canvas website and all the course materials for the duration of the course, and also for, I think, maybe a month afterwards. We give you a few weeks at the end to finish everything up, but then after that time you will lose access to all the materials. However, we have put together PDFs for each module with the basic takeaways and links and resources to go and find this information and get the information you need so that you will have access to, you're not going to have access to the course, but you will have access to the information that you learned afterwards in these weekly takeaway PDFs that we've developed. We also give you a lot of supplemental resources that are not required for participation in the course, but if you are interested or if you need more information, we can point you to useful resources for each topic. And every week, every module, there are also quizzes that assess your learning and go towards your completion of the course for the certificate. And this is just an example of what the case studies look like. So in this example from our module 3, we've got a case study about an environment. I think it looks like it's a shipbuilding environment where the workers are doing welding, and then as you can see, and we have a video where you can have a look and see what this looks like when and then there are a series of reflection questions, and you get access to these at the very beginning of the module so that as you work through the module, you can think about them. So in the reflection questions, you have to read up on the case study, look at the pictures, view the video, and then work through the questions. You would post your response to the reflection question, and then once you post your reflection, then you can see what everybody else has posted. And we'll try and give you some feedback as well on what you've posted. And you know, I think in our previous session, in our previous run through of the course, everybody had a lot of good contributions to make in their reflection questions, and some people brought up things that I hadn't thought of, so it was always really useful to read through what other people had said, and also to have a chance to think through these questions yourself. Some of the other activities we have that I've kind of touched on earlier, on the left side of the screen, you see what it looks like when there is just this text that you read. So it tells you at the beginning of this approximately how long it's going to take you to read through each page. And there are some interactive elements. So as you can see in this example, we have a definition of what a physical hazard is, and you can expand that as you get to that section, and then you can make it smaller again. There are some other interactive elements where they're non-graded, but to kind of assess your own understanding, you can do some short activities in these reading sections as well, where you maybe match different concepts that go together. And then there are also videos that, like I mentioned, and this tells you how long the video is. In the middle, it's 12. This is a video that's 12 minutes, and you see Hugh there. He's doing a presentation, giving a lesson on one of our topics. And at the bottom of each of these videos, we also summarize the key takeaways to just kind of help tie everything together. And also, there are only a few podcasts in the course, but we have an example of one of the podcasts. I believe some of them are in the toxicology section. So we talk about how do we know which chemicals are hazardous, and what does that mean, and how does it work in your body? There are a few different methods that we use in the learning. So as I touched on earlier in the sections where you read, we tried to make it so it's not just a huge wall of text, because that is not really a good way for anybody to learn. So we've broken it up with some of these icons, so you can see where this is, if we pointed out if it's a really key concept. We give some examples, and then usually throughout the module, and definitely at the very end, we give some links to supplemental resources that you can follow up with if the topic is of particular interest to you. The weekly online sessions, that are going to be run every week will be on Wednesdays from 6 to 7 p.m. on Zoom. And so the course starts on September 15th, and then the first live session will be the following week on September 24th. And that's basically to give you a chance to work through all the Module 1 material, so that when you come to the first live session, we have we're all kind of on the same page, and we've got something to talk about. And so each week in the live sessions, we're going to discuss the week's material. So go over what we learned, maybe kind of expand on it a little bit, introduce some new ways of looking at it. we also have this on our discussion boards. Every week, we're going to have a discussion where students can bring up the muddiest point. And what the muddiest point is, it's a concept where you can think of what was unclear as you were working through the course material. Did you find anything hard to understand or confusing, or you had more questions, or it opened up more questions and answers? So we're going to try and address some of those in the weekly online sessions, and students can nominate what they want to discuss for that. We're going to do some exercises, group exercises. We'll try and look at some news topics. So, there's always in the media things going on related to our field, and we'll bring up those as they relate to our modules in the live sessions. We're going to be doing some feedback polls as well, so we can see how the course is going for you, if it's at the right level, if we're going too fast, if it's too easy. And we're also going to bring in some guest speakers who are experts in some of the topics that we're going to talk about. A course assessment. So to get your certificate at the end of the course, we need some kind of assurance that you've completed the work. So you get points for your participation in the reflection questions. Those are the questions that tie back to the case studies. And you will also get 60% of your grade is going to come from the weekly quizzes. The quizzes, you have multiple attempts for the quiz. So if you do the quiz one time and don't pass, that is okay. You can try again. You can go back and review the material and try again. And also you get 10% for participation in the weekly online sessions, up to a total of 100%. I believe, Hugh can correct me, but I think you need 70% to pass and get the certificate.
Yeah, that's right.
That's right. Okay, thank you. So now I think I saw Banu arrive. I just want to meet one of our alums from the previous offering of this course. We've only run this course once before, and that was this spring, and Banu is a graduate of that session. So I have a few questions. Are you here, Banu? Are you ready to?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, hi. No, thank you for
Hi.
joining us today. It's great. It's really
Sure.
great to have your perspective. So I have a few questions, just 3 questions that we wanted to ask you, because we thought it would be helpful for anybody who's thinking about taking the course. So what was your reason? Why did you sign up to take the course this spring?
So, anyway, hi everyone. So, my background is mainly in health policy and program evaluation and research. So, focusing on quantitative analysis in general. So, I'm fairly new to the field of occupational health and safety. So, as I started working on this area, I was curious about the foundations of occupational safety. So, when I was looking into the occupational hygiene course content, I felt like it is a good place to start on identifying the importance and groundwork for occupational health. So that's why I enrolled the course.
Great. Yeah, thank you. One of the things that I found really interesting in our previous courses that everybody had different backgrounds. And so there was a lot that all of the learners, and that I also that we could all learn from each other with the diverse backgrounds. So what did you find most exciting or interesting about the course?
Yeah, so as a quantitative analyst, my work is mainly with administrative data. So before I took the course, I didn't think much about the front end of these safety policies or their requirements. So the course helped me to realize how much thought and effort are required for the implementation and maintenance of these safety measures. So it was so exciting to see how are things going on in the front end rather than just working with the administrative data.
Oh, right. So like, where does the data come from?
Yeah.
Basically. Okay. Oh, that's cool. And what advice would you give to prospective students?
So personally, I found the course content is very rich and informative. So at first, I was worried whether I would have enough time to successfully complete the course, but it was easily manageable alongside even with full-time work. So my main the main thing I did was like follow the course timetable. Like I completed weekly work in mostly in each week rather than like postponing stuff. So that's my main advice. Go with the course timetable. It would be really easy to manage.
Oh, yeah, thank you. I'm
Yeah.
glad that you found it manageable for your schedule. That's really great to hear. And
Yeah.
and yeah, I agree. I think, the course is designed so that you can do it at your own pace, but I think you do get more out of it if you follow the weekly schedule.
Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, so thank you so much for that, Banu. Thank you for taking the
Yeah, thank you for
time
having me.
to
Yeah.
talk to us. And we have some time now for some Q&A. Hugh and I are available for questions. And I don't know if you're comfortable, Banu, if students have any questions for you. But Hugh and I will certainly be available for questions.
Yeah, and feel free to put them in the chat or put your hand up, or I know if something occurs to you later, remember we put up that email address. Maybe we can go to the last
Oh,
slide.
yes, the
there
last
too.
slide. Thank you. Thanks for that reminder. So yeah, we've got this last slide here. I've got my email address. So we have this POH instructor at ubc.ca. Hugh and I actually both have access to that email address, but I'll probably be the one answering the emails. We also have our course manager, Lena, who she can let you know about any practical aspects about registration or what doing the course looks like, or if you need any help or accommodation questions, you can get in touch with Lena. And then we have
I'm just going to go to John. John's got a question.
Oh, John's got a question.
Yeah.
Great.
Go ahead, John.
In the industry, I'm thinking of opportunities. And if I was not in the construction industry, what kind of level positions are available?
So John, I'm going to have to interrupt you. We can't actually hear you. Your line is very, very bad, and we can't actually make out what you're saying. So maybe you could type that question in, and we'll answer. Sorry about that. Yeah, not your problem. It's probably our end. While John's typing that in, has anybody else got any questions? If we can't answer it ourselves, we'll make sure we get somebody who can answer it for you. I think it's fair to say that, or I can say that everyone that took the course last time passed. And we had a lot of people from a huge variety of backgrounds, some who actually had a lot of experience and some that didn't. And we seem to get positive responses from most people. So, so I think if you're worried still if this is the right course, I think there really is something in it for everybody. Okay, John.
Yeah, we got some questions now.
Okay. Okay, yeah. So,
So John, you're currently on a joint
Yeah.
health and safety committee at an engineering company, and you're wondering what kind of entry-level positions are available. Yeah, that's a really good question. So a lot of people get involved in occupational hygiene because they're working in a safety position. And if you have a few different certifications, and certainly if you have some engineering experience, I think there are some entry-level safety positions, and you could start, and if you have this kind of occupational hygiene experience and training. Oh, and if you're a first aid attendant with a kinesiology degree, even better. Like this is an ideal background for getting into the hygiene field. Because you have that, you can the ergonomics is part of the hygiene, the wide umbrella of hygiene, and first aid is useful. So if you can get an entry-level position as a safety officer, then this hygiene experience would set you apart, because a lot of safety people don't have that hygiene background. And then if you wanted to become a hygienist, then there are opportunities for hygiene technologists, and then you can sort of get that experience and work your way from there. And if you have a degree in kinesiology from UBC, then you would probably be eligible in time to take the CIH exam, which is a Certified Industrial Hygiene, or ROH exam, the Registered Occupational Hygiene exam, which would then make you a registered occupational hygienist. So basically there are opportunities there. Anybody, if you have an interest in this field and some training and background, there are some entry-level opportunities to do a bit of hygiene work and then get that experience so that you can go through and do the certification. You need a certain level, a certain number of years of experience before you can do the hygiene exams, but this can definitely get you on the right track for that. Oh, Marta Spears. I worked with Marta Spears. She was previously at the BCCSA with me. That's great.
Any other questions? I know we've gone over a little bit, but happy to stay and make sure we answer everyone's questions. Okay. Okay. So Verbal said, "Hi Melanie, Hugh. I will be pursuing my CRSP. Will this help that in any aspect?" I mean, I would certainly say it will, but I'm not that familiar with the CRSP, so I'm going to hand this over to Melanie and see if she can.
Yeah, I also haven't done the CRSP, but I think it will help. I have the same kind of sense as you, because in addition to talking about the hygiene, kind of the science, we also talk about safety programs and safety program management, and there's a lot of crossover between the way that we handle that in safety and the way that we handle that in hygiene. So I do think that it would help you with your CRSP.
And I think the other thing that we always try and teach in both our master's program and this program is how to problem solve, because the occupational setting is so diverse, so complex. Every problem you're going to come up with is going to be slightly different. And so we try and, even at this level, try and teach people to be as independent as possible, confident that they know how to solve basically any problem. I mean, you build up your experience on top of that. But when we started, Melanie introduced this as that paradigm that we use, recognition, evaluation, and control. We build on that so that you can basically recognize what kind of problem it is and what tools are at your disposal to solve those problems. And as Melanie said, I think that translates to any sort of OHS field. I mean, it's the core of hygiene, but it really is helpful in other areas. So I definitely think it would help you, yeah. Okay, I see people are starting to drift away, so I don't want to keep you any longer.
We do have one raised hand.
Sorry.
I don't want to.
Yeah. Olamoya, please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, Melanie and Hugh. Thank you for the section you've organized. Quite helpful. So I have a degree out of Canada in agricultural science, and I presently work as an industrial hygiene technologist.
Yes.
So I know it's a lot of requirements transitioning into an industrial hygiene and also writing the CIH. So when I learned about this program, I was really, really fascinated about it. And I do love what the course is going to cover. But still, I know Melanie mentioned it, that it's going to help in pursuing a CIH certification, which is something I'm also looking up to. So I really want to find out if the certification and this program would help in my pursuit as a proper industrial hygienist.
Yeah, so this is the hygiene, the CIH prerequisites or requisites are very specific about the number of hours that you have to have at in credit hours. So this would be enrolled in a degree program in different areas. I don't remember all the details offhand, but I was looking at them just a few months ago. So if you go to the website, where it tells you all the requisites, you can see them there. So this course would not be a formal, would not help you meet those formal training requirements. I think what it would probably do, and I have no idea of your work situation, like how much experience you have and so on, but typically, I would hope that this course would help you move sort of beyond the technician level, where you're basically applying strategies and methods that are given to you by perhaps a hygienist who would develop the strategy, the problem-solving strategy, and what methods are going to be used, would help you move up to that next level of being able to become more independent and problem solve those things. So you would be able to say, okay, it's this kind of problem, this is the kind of approach I need to take. Would definitely, I think, you are in that target audience we have. You're exactly the kind of person that we've made this course for. But as Melanie said, it would assist you, I think, in general, in sort of taking the CIH exam and understanding material that you're going to have to study to do the CIH. But it's not like a CIH prep course, which are held by various institutions. This is not one of those courses.
Yeah, I think you could maybe take this course to prepare yourself to take the prep course so that you have all the background information you need to get. Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for your response.
You bet.
Okay, I don't see any more questions. So thank you, everybody, for your time. Thank you for coming. And again, feel free to reach out to us if you think of anything, and if you have any more questions about the course.
Okay, bye everyone. Have a great week, and I hope we see you in a couple of weeks. Take care.